Hello, my dear students. My name is Dr. Amit Tomar. I am Senior Assistant Professor in Department of Physics and Astronomical Sciences, Central University of Jammu campus. Today, I am here to present a very important video lecture regarding your CUET entrance examination in physics. The today title of my lecture is Gauss Law in it and its application, part second. We have already covered basic physics and some basic example in part first, but now today we start here part second. Let's start with part second. Some more advanced example is here for you. So let's start. Here is first PPT, and as we all know, it has some important point regarding the differential form of Gauss law, which have del dot E equal to rho upon epsilon naught, as we all know. But as a starting, I have to explain some basic terms like rho is the volume charge density and E is the electric field. Basically, the basic statement of the Gauss law, E dot dA integration equal to Q enclosed upon epsilon naught, and we have some changes by divergence theorem and Q enclosed formula. So we comes here by del dot E equal to rho upon epsilon naught as a differential form of Gauss law. Now move further. So here is a some advanced example. So first I read very carefully the each and every term of the question and then we explain. So a positive point charge capital Q is located at the center of a cube of side length L. In addition, six other identical positive point charges small q are positioned symmetrically around capital Q as shown in the figure. What is the electric flux through one face of the cube? As we know, in the cube we have the six faces, and as you see, some faces surfaces in the bottom, some left hand side, some top, some bottom, and some behind the figure which is not seen directly. So we have a total six number of faces. So first of all, to calculate the electric flux, we have to find the total charge enclosed, as we know very well. So let's calculate the total charge enclosed inside the cube. So we have a two type of charge. We have a 6 small q charge, as you see in the figure, and we have a capital Q charge which is placed at the center point. So the total charge is capital Q plus 6 small q. So we have to calculate, we have to add Q plus Q, they all are in the same magnitude and place on the each faces. So we have a plus Q charge which is at the center, and each face of the cube has the individual small q charge. So total charge enclosed is equal to capital Q plus 6q. So we use our formula, that is phi equal to Q enclosed upon epsilon naught, and we have a capital Q plus 6q divided by epsilon naught. This is the electric flux of total cube, but we have to find only through a one phase. So as we know, we have a six phases. So we divide our answer by 6 to get the electric flux through one phase of the cube. So the phi s is the electric flux through one phase of the cube, and by divide the our answer by 6, that is q plus 6q upon 6 epsilon naught, we get the answer regarding electric flux through one phase of the cube. So we have a very simple mathematical calculation, and very easily we may find the answer. So this question, we have to solve some other question on the same pattern. Now move further. So basically, this is a very nice question regarding your competition point of view. So again, the concept test is that which of the flowing closed surface has the most positive electric flux through it. So this PPT is not as easy as you see. So I explain this in a very nice way so that you may understand. Basically, we have some different pictures which overlap between one another. So first of all, the surface S1, S2, S3 and S5 we have to explain. Surface S1 has a rectangular surface. Surface S2, which is inside the surface S1, has some curved corner, and it has a some positive and negative charge. Positive charge is shown by blue dots and negative charge shown by the red dots. So surface S2 we have a four charges. Two is the positive and two is the negative. Now surface S4 is a shape which is just like a heart, and this heart's surface is again have four charges. The two is positive and the two is negative. As you see, the S5 surface is a which is shown by the symbol S5 contain the two charge, that is plus q, and surface S3 which is a circle black dotted, and it contains the three charges. Two is negative and one is positive. These charges are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. So red one is negative charge and blue one is positive charge, but these charges are equal in magnitude. So again we come to the our surface S1. So surface S1 which contain all the S4, S2, S5 and S3 inside it. So we have taken one by one and explain. So surface S1 has the total number of, let's count the negative charges. So negative charges is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. There are 8 negative charges, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 are the positive charge. 6 is the positive charge. So the net charge is minus 2q charge. So what is the flux? Flux is the total net charge encloses inside the surface. So our S1 surface, which is a rectangular surface, contains 8 negative charge and 6 positive charge. So the net charge is minus 2q. So this is not the right answer. We have to find the most positive electric flux through the surface. Now the second one is S4. S4 contain four charges. It is a heart shape, and two is negative and two is positive. So the net charge is 0. So the electric flux through the S4 surface is 0. Now we talk about S2 surface. S2 surface is a special kind of surface which is curved corner, and it again four charges. Two is negative and two is positive. So again the total charge inside the S2 surface is 0. So electric flux is 0. Now the surface come to the S3. It is a circle which is shown by the black dots. It contains three charges. Two is negative and one is positive. So the net charges inside the S3 is minus Q. So the electric flux is there, but it is negative electric flux. Now come to the right answer, which is surface S5. As we know, S5 contain only two charge, which is positive, and the total electric flux is equal to the total charge enclosed by the S5 surface, and S5 surface is two positive charge. So the right answer is 2q 2q upon epsilon naught. So the most positive flux is through the S5 surface. I think I explained this question in very nice way so that you may understand from the electric flux of these different type of pictures, and this is very important question. Keep that in mind. Here is the way how we calculate the electric flux by different picture by different charges. You just concentrate on the particular surface and keep counting how much charge inside the surface, and this is the electric flux. So now move further. The correct answer is S5. This is an outline regarding use Gauss law to calculate the electric field. generate at a point by highly symmetrical charge distribution. So this is the basic formula of the Gauss law. Phi E equal to integration, close integration, vector E scalar product dot dA area vector equal to capital Q ENC is a Q enclosed divided by epsilon naught. It is a constant validity for any distribution of charges and for any closed surface. Basically, this formula is the uniform, and this is the beauty of the Gauss law. By a simple formula, we may calculate the electric flux by the any surface, any volume by simple calculating charge enclosed. Without knowing the basic symmetry, without knowing the basic formula, just by calculate the charge enclosed, we found the electric flux. This is the beauty of the Gauss law. And as you see, we have the two major application. The first one is symmetric charge distribution we have. With this, we have to evaluate the integral, then we find the electric field. And the second one is we have the electric field, we have the Gauss law, and by this we have to find the knowledge about the charge distribution, whether it is a discrete, whether it is a continuous charge distribution. So first of all, we have to discuss the first application, that is we have given symmetric charge distribution. With this help, we have to evaluate the integral and we find the electric field. So this is basically the application of Gauss law in term of a solid conductor. As we all know, the basic property of the conductor is that the electric field is always zero each and every condition inside the conductor. The material which follow this property comes to be the conductor. So any material which has the zero electric field inside it, then called the conductor. So basically there is some basic charge which always resides on the surface. This is another property of the conductor. If there is any charge, then it must reside on the surface. So we have to draw a Gaussian surface inside the conductor, and if we see that the electric field inside the Gaussian surface and outside the Gaussian surface is zero. If we draw a Gaussian surface outside this conductor, that is the imaginary surface, then the charge inside this surface is exist and the electric flux is also exist. So keep that in mind. In conductor, the electric field is always zero. We have to follow this property, and if there is any charge, it's only at the surface of the conductor. So by use this parameter, we have to calculate the electric field in next some PPT regarding conducting surface. So here is the example. We have the solid conductor, solid sphere, which is a conductor. We have a net positive charge, which is only at the surfaces, and electric field inside the conductor is zero. Capital R is the radius of the conductor. First of all, we have to draw two Gaussian imaginary surfaces, that is radius R, radius 2R, and next is radius 3R, which is shown by the semicircle. These are the two imaginary Gaussian surface which is drawn around the conductor surface. So as we know, the electric field is inside the conductor is zero. If we move the radius which is less than the capital R, then the electric field is zero, which is shown by the graph picture. As you see, this graph, which is x and y axis, on x axis we have a small r in term of capital R. Capital R is the radius of the conductor surface, and now we move 2R and 3R as we draw the external imaginary Gaussian surface to find the electric field as at the large distances. And as you see, on y-axis we have the electric field with some particular point ER equal to Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught R square. It is the value of the electric field at the surface of the conductor. That is, it is the value of the electric field when small r equal to capital R. Small r is the variable. It may be 2r, it may be 3r, which is at the large distances, but at the surface of the conductor, it is equal to r, which is the radius of the conductor sphere. So now, as you see by the red line, 0 up to capital R, we have the no value of the electric field. It is 0. This shows that it is the conductor, and we know very well the electric field inside the conductor is 0. Now, if we move further, then the electric field decreases, which is shown by the curved line, dotted curved red line, that is outside the sphere. The magnitude of the electric field decreases with the square of the radial distance from the center of the sphere. It is very important to note that the outside of the conductor, the electric field decreases as we move away from the conductor, and at the surface its value is the maximum, which is q equal to 4 pi epsilon naught capital R square. And as you see, this is the basic picture or basic graphs by which you understand how the electric field increase or decrease as we move outside or inside the conductor. The electric field is 0, which is shown by the red line. So now I hope you understand how the electric field varies inside and outside the conductor with the distance, that is small r. Now move further. So here is a another question for you. Basically, consider a solid spherical conductor. It is a solid spherical conductor, same as the previous question. It is a solid, that is the electric field inside it up to the radius is equal to 0. Basically, solid sphere conductor of radius capital R and charge capital Q at electrostatic equilibrium shown below. Is that electrostatic equilibrium means the charge is stationary, it is time independent, and it is not accelerating or moving with any speed or velocity. So keep that mind. It is electrostatic in nature. If it is moving, accelerating, then it is electrodynamics comes here, and the things are more critical. So here the things are very easy because we have to take the electrostatic case. So now move further. Which is the correct ranking of the points A, B, C, and D according to the value of the electric field at their location? So first of all, you have to decide our material is conductor. So the electric field inside the value small r less than capital R, that is the point A and B, it's equal to 0. So the electric field at point A, B, all the point which lies inside the radius capital R, that is inside the conductor, the electric fields are equal and its value is 0. So the one option which is correct is where A equal to B. And as you see with the help of the previous question, which we have discussed in a very nice way, that as we move away from the conductor, then electric field decreases with the distance. So the D is the more far away than C. So the value of the electric field at the D is lesser than the C. So the electric field at C is greater than D, and electric field at B is 0 and A is 0. So the option fourth is correct one. So I think you all understand what I want to say. So this is how you calculate the electric field, just only to remember some basic points. So basically, this is some more application. Here we have a cylindrical Gaussian surface in imaginary point of view, and as you see, we have to find the continuous charge distribution by solving the integration E dot dA. And in area element, we have a 2 pi r formula, that is the circumference of the cylinder. And by this, we very simply calculate the electric field. In this question, we have a continuous charge distribution. and the mathematical calculation is different from the discrete one. So by applying the simple mathematics formula, which you have in some basic books, you easily calculate the exact answer. So this is how we calculate the continuous electric field by the cylindrical surface which have a uniform charge density or line charge density. Now this is again a very important question. Use Gauss law to find the electric field caused by a thin, flat, infinite sheet with a uniform positive surface charge density sigma. Basically, uniform surface charge density sigma applies here because charge is distributed uniformly on the surface only. So if the charge is distributed on the volume, then we have a volume charge density, that is rho. But here we have a sheet, so we have a surface charge density which is represented by sigma, charge per unit surface area. So basically we have an electric field E equal to sigma upon 2 epsilon naught. It is the exact answer. And as you see, this answer is independent of R. So basically this is the way by which we produce the uniform electric field. This field is independent of distance. As we move away and far away from the uniformly charged sheet, then the electric field doesn't decrease in its magnitude. Its magnitude is constant as we move away from the sheet. This is very important question regarding your competition point of view. Which of the following produce the uniform electric field? So it is the thin flat infinite sheet which has a uniform positive surface charge density sigma, which is capable to produce the uniform electric field which is independent upon the radius from the that particular surface. So E equal to sigma upon 2 epsilon naught is the right answer. You have to prepare some basic mathematical calculation, and after that you will get the answer. The important point is that the electric field is uniform and it is independent of the distance. Now move further. Here is some more special example. This is a solid insulator. Don't confuse, it is not a conductor, so the electric field inside it not equal to 0 as you see in the PPT. So basically we have to calculate the electric field. We have a volume charge density, that is charge is uniformly distributed throughout the volume of the sphere, and by draw the Gaussian imaginary surface inside and outside. We have to calculate by applying some basic mathematical calculation what is the value of the electric field when we move inside the sphere and outside the sphere, um, which is shown by the purple sphere. It is the imaginary Gaussian sphere which you draw and shown by the some black bold notation Gaussian surface, and light green part as you see it is the insulator. So now move further. As you see, like some previous PPT, we very nicely draw the curve and very good graphical representation here in term of electric field and distance. And here we calculate how the electric field varies with distance as we move far away from the center of the insulator. Now positive electric charge capital Q is distributed uniformly throughout the volume of an insulating sphere with radius capital R. So we have to find the magnitude of the electric field at point P at distance small r from the center of the sphere. So now we are talking about the point which is lie inside the radius of the sphere. As you see, its value is ER. E in bracket we have a capital R equal to capital Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into R square. This is the maximum value of the electric field, and you see there is another value which is E equal to capital Q into small r divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R cube. So this is the value inside the this insulator sphere. through about which we have distribute the uniformly charged density rho. So the electric field inside the uniformly charged spherical surface, electric field is directly proportional to the small r. This is shown by the red line, which is linearly vary up to the capital R, which is the dotted line, black dotted line, plotted vertically parallel to the y-axis. As you see, when we move up to the capital R, the radius of the insulating surface, the electric field is directly proportional to the distance or radius of the Gaussian surface. So, inside the spherical insulator, the electric field is directly proportional to the distance. So, in case of conductor, it is zero. But here we have a uniform volume charge density. So, electric field is not zero inside the volume charge density because it is a spherical insulator. So, when we move up to the surface where R equals to capital R, so the formula takes the form E capital R equal to Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught capital R square, and this is exactly equal to the value of the electric field as same as the conductor at its outer surface. Keep that in mind. These two are the same answer, but the cases are the different. So inside the conductor we have the electric field 0, but here we have some different material and electric field is directly proportional to the distance small r. So when we move outside the spherical insulator surface, so we have to plot the imaginary Gaussian surface, which is small r greater than capital R, and the curve shown, which is dk uh, with r, E equal to Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught small r square. These are the some basic terms which you calculate by simple mathematical calculation, which is from E equal to dot d equal to Q enclosed upon epsilon naught. Here Q is the Q enclosed, and 4 pi r square comes from the area of the Gaussian surface, which is 4 pi small r square. When we go outside the these spherical insulator, small r is greater than capital R. So the things come very easy when you do it by yourself again and again, and you understand how do we calculate the electric field inside and outside by imaginary surface, that is a Gaussian surface. Now hope you understand what I want to say. Keep listening again and again, then you understand better way. Now move further. This is again a question. First I read very carefully. A thin valved hollow sphere of radius 0.250 meter has an unknown charge distribution distributed uniformly over its surface. That is, it is a surface charge distribution at a distance of 0.300 meter from the center of the sphere. The electric field points radially inwards and and has a magnitude of 1.80 into 10 raised to the power 2 Newton per coulomb. How much charge is on the sphere? So basically here we have to find the Q enclosed, and the electric field is given and the area is given. So by applying the simple mathematical condition, you just find the charge enclosed by this formula. Electric field is given and area is the given. So it is as simple as you see. This is the next question. A Gaussian cube of side R is placed inside a uniformly charged insulating sphere of radius 2r and a charge capital Q. What is the electric flux on the Gaussian cube? Basically, we have to apply the formula of the flux, that is phi E equal to integration E dot scalar product dA equal to Q enclosed upon epsilon naught, and by applying the very simple calculation you have in the position to find the answer. So I think you do it this question by yourself so that you may understand in some better way. So this is the PPT regarding the second application that we have given the electric field by use of Gauss law, and we know about the charge distribution. Now move further. So again we have a charge on the conductor. As you know, we have a solid conductor in electrostatic situation. Keep that mind. These all situations are electrostatic in nature. That is, charges are stationary. They doesn't move. They don't have any acceleration at all. If they have any acceleration, then we do move towards the electrodynamics, and things are critical there. So here the things are very simple. So this is a solid conductor. If there is some charge QC which is on the surface, and the inside we have a zero electric field always, whatever is the condition. This is the basic property for a material to have a conductor. So basically, if there is any charge, it is on the surface. So what happen if we have a cavity inside the conductor? Cavity means a hollow, some hollow part which is created inside the conductor, and this cavity may have some charge or may not have some charge. If the cavity has some charge, then we have to calculate the electric field inside the cavity and outside the cavity. As you know, outside the cavity and up to the conductor radius, the electric field is zero. Any charge which is only at the surface. But inside the cavity, we have to draw the Gaussian surface which is applicable only inside the cavity, and the electric field is comes out. But as we move outside the cavity but inside the conductor, then in all condition electric field is always zero. We have mentioned here electric field is zero at all points within the conductor, and the electric field at all point on the Gaussian surface must be zero. So if we draw the Gaussian surface inside the conductor, then the electric field is zero, no doubt. So basically the case is different in this PPT. We have a cavity inside the conductor, and this cavity contain a charge plus U. Now things is different here. What is different? Because conductor have the unlimited supply of electrons, charges, and the charges is negative and positive, equal in magnitude. So what happens? This positive charge, basically conductor have negative charge and positive charge. If we create a cavity inside the conductor and put the positive charge, then what will happen? That this charge attracts the negative charges. This is a natural phenomena. The positive charge attracts the negative charge. If this cavity has a negative charge, then it attracts the positive charge. But for a particular picture in this PPT, we have a positive charge inside the cavity, and this attracts the negative charge of the conductor, and the residue positive charge which is resides on the surface. So we have here a Gaussian surface which is shown by the purple line. So if anyone asks about the charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface, then the Gaussian surface encloses the zero charge. How? The charge is zero because this positive charge attracts equal amount of negative charge. It has to make electric field zero inside the conductor. That's why the negative charge is equal in magnitude to the positive charge. So if we have to calculate the total charge enclosed inside this purple circle or this Gaussian surface. So the charge enclosed is zero, minus charge and plus Q charge. So if we have to found the electric field outside the conductor, then things is different, and we have a charge enclosed and we have the electric field. But for now, we have a Gaussian surface which has a plus Q charge and negative charge and positive charge. So net charge is zero and electric flux is zero, which fulfills the condition of the conductor. So now move further. So this is a some important point regarding Faraday cage. What is the Faraday cage? As we all know, the conductor has the property with electric field zero, and it has a large number of negative and positive charge. And if we apply electric field, from the outside, then the internal electric field develop which oppose the external electric field direction. As you see, the external electric field move towards the right. So in the conductor, the charge is adjusts itself opposite to the effect of the outside electric field. What does it mean? In some simple words, the internal electric field try to cancel the effect of the outside electric field, so it move towards the left. So negative charge on the left hand side, positive charge on the left hand side, so that the direction of the electric field is towards the left to cancel the effect of the outside electric field, and this process is simultaneously continuously without any time lag. So if there is a rain and you have a lightning in the sky, to save yourself you just sit in your car, because car is a very good conductor case, and no lightning can be transferred through the car because you sit in the conductor. And if you sit inside the conductor, inside the cavity which is surrounded by the conductor, you are perfectly safe from the effect of the outside electric field. In some simpler words, if you have a external electric field and you want to save yourself from the effect of the external electric field, you just create the cage of the conductor and put yourself inside that cage which is built of the conductor. Then if anyone try to hurt you by applying the electric field, then this electric field nothing harm you, because the property conductor has always electric field 0 inside it. So the effect of the outside electric field cancel out with the charge of the conductors. So that's why when there is lighting in the sky with rain, you have to sit inside your car. You are perfectly safe than in your home. So it is better to sit inside the car to take some other shelter or some other materialistic thing. If you have a car, then just sit inside it and wait for the rain have to stop. Now this is again a very good question. So what is that? A solid conductor with a cavity carries a total charge of plus 7 nanocoulomb. Within the cavity, the insulated from the conductor is a point charge of minus 5 nanocoulomb. Basically, this is the charge of minus 5 nanocoulomb which is put inside the cavity, that is not conductor, and this hollow cavity is surrounded by the conductor with a plus 7 nanocoulomb charge. So how much charge is on the surface of inner and outer side of the conductor? It is very clear from the picture that we have a plus 7 nanocoulomb charge, and the cavity contain a minus 5 nanocoulomb charge. This minus 5 charge attracts the plus 5 charge, equal magnitude charge, so that the electric field is 0 inside the Gaussian surface. As you calculate the charge enclosed inside the Gaussian surface, we have a minus 5 charge and we have a plus 5 charge. So net charge is 0, and in Gaussian surface the electric flux is 0. So how much charge left? So only 2 plus 2 nanocoulomb charge left which resides on the surface. Hope you understand. So this is again a very nice question. We have a small conducting spherical shell with inner radius a and outer radius small b, is concentric with a larger conducting spherical shell with inner radius c and outer radius small d. The inner shell has total charge plus q and the outer shell has charge plus 4q. Calculate the electric field magnitude in term of these small radiuses. I think this is a very simple question, and you have to apply some your basic IQ level which you have read in this lecture and past few lecture, so that you may calculate the by yourself this question. So do yourself so that you understand better way, or take help of some books, basic books. These are some basic question. By using the help of the basic books, you easily solve. So this is again a very important question. Which of the following can be true regarding the figure shown below? Basically, this is a figure by which some arrow is shown, and these arrow points the outward from the center. Basically, we have some points Q, S, L, and P. So I have to read one by one these points. The electric field at S is stronger than at capital P. There is a point charge at capital point Q. There are negative charge at point L. What does this point reflect? As we know, the positive charge generates the electric field, and these electric field lines of forces travels outward from the positive charge, and these electric field of lines of forces travels towards the negative charge. As in our picture, as we see, these electric lines of forces move away from the point Q. So it is clear that the point Q is the positive charge here. So there is a point charge HQ. This point is correct. The electric field at S is stronger than at P. As we see, as we move away and away, and distance is increasing between the electric lines of forces. So when the electric lines of forces are close together, the electric field strength is greater. So as we move away and away, and electric lines of forces move far away, the strength of the field is decreases, and where the electric field lines of forces are close together, the electric field strength is stronger. So the electric field strength S is stronger than P. This is again a correct point. And there are negative charges at L. So there is no negative charges at L because there is no indication of electric lines of forces which move towards the L. So the answer 1 and 2 is correct. So again, this is the last solved example of our today lecture, which is a very important. That a spherical conducting cell S1 is placed inside another spherical conducting cell S3. The space between S1 and S3 is filled by the uncharged insulator S2. That is, this is the insulator. As you see the cursor of my laptop, this is the red part is the insulator, and this blue part is the conducting shell. That is, it is a conductor, and again this blue circle is a conductor. So S1 is this blue circle, small circle, which is inside the this S3 shell, and this is the insulating material which sandwich between these two. Basically, this is the insulating material circle which is sandwiched between these two. Please see my cursor of the laptop. You understand better way. This is the conductor cell, that is electric field 0 inside it, and it's move away. And this is the insulating material which is sandwiched between these two conductors. So this is again the conductor shell. This is the S1, and the large one is the S3. So basically, the space between S1 and S3 is filled by the uncharged insulator S2, which is the red circle. The isolated charge within the cavity, which is the white part, and the black dot is the plus 2q charge, is put inside the cavity. So I just want to repeat this question again. We have a larger circle, which is S3, the radius, larger radius. We have a S1 blue circle, that is a S1, and we have a red circle which is a insulating material between S1 and S3 and nominated by S2. Again we have a white circle which is a cavity hollow sphere, and we have a plus q2 charge inside it. So what happen if we have a net charge 4q on S1 and we have a minus 4q charge on S3? So this is the question. Hope you understand. First, just understand question what demands and then give the answer. So the option 1 is inner surface of S1 have a charge minus q plus q, and so as you calculate by yourself, the correct answer is minus 2q. The inner surface is minus 2q. I just explain this part. Basically, in cavity we have a plus q2 charge. This charge attracts the minus 2q charge so that the electric field is zero inside the smaller blue circle. So the inner circle of the S1 we have a minus q2 charge. I think you understand. Now second point, outer surface of S1, the answer is plus 6q. So do yourself. The inner surface of S3, the answer is minus 6q. Do yourself. And the outer surface of S3 is plus 2q. Do yourself. I have already discussed lots of question just like this question. So do yourself and take help of some basic book of electrodynamics so that you do it in very simple way. I think this lecture is some typical than the last one because it has some most question answer session and questions are very good so that you understand the physics behind the Gauss law. So I try to cover all the topic of the Gauss law and its all the application. So keep watching and keep listening these lectures so many times because when you listen one time, two time, you don't get all the things. When you read books one time, two times, three times, then you uh, gain better, better, and better. So keep listening again and again and again so that you just cover all the points, all the topic, and understand in a some very nice way. So wish you all the very best of luck for your exam and hope you like this video. Thanks.